and welcome. I am Christie from the mentoring team, and I wanted to talk today on the topic of being on the home stretch, coming down the home stretch, talking about from spring break until summer break in your homeschool. So if you are joining today, please tell me what week you're on or in your Sunlight curriculum between 1 and 36. Overall, I know we might be in different places and different subjects, but overall where you are in your homeschool year and how that's going. So I would love to hear from you as you're joining. So just say hello, and if you have any questions, feel free to pop those in. If you're watching the replay later, you can add those to the comments, and I'll be glad to chime in there. So anyway, I hope that your week is going well here. We've made it to April of the school year, and I realize that just this idea today is just to get really practical about these last 6 weeks or so. And, I realize that everybody's not in the last 6 weeks. Some people are just starting out, or maybe you're in a non-traditional school year, or maybe you're in a different country and the school year is different where you are. So whatever the case may be, I hope that your week is going well. And today, primarily, my idea is just to get really practical for those who are finishing up their school year between a traditional spring break time and summer break. And for a lot of people, I think this year, because Easter was early, then also that means that spring break was early. And so in these 6 or so weeks, I just wanted to talk about that time. So if you have more than 6 weeks, or if you have purposely have a different timeline, again, I hope you have a great, maybe there's some encouraging things in here for later, but just want to talk about these 10 quick tips, 10 quick ideas for the last several weeks of school. So I'm going to kick that off here. And I think one of the best things you can do, number one, is talk to your people and with your best coach-like speech that you can come up with, okay? So put on your coach's hat. You don't have to, use analogies like, we're in the bottom of the ninth, or we're in the fourth quarter, or whatever it is. But just talk about the remaining time that you have, and then, basically this part of the year matters too, and we want to finish well. So just communicating and getting them on board, that's a big part of it for me at the end of a school year. So that's my number one tip, is just to communicate, get that time frame kind of nailed down. Definitely put a last day on the calendar so that you know where it is and what you're aiming for and how much time you have, and communicate about that. The second thing is to find your last day, mark it on your calendar, and plan a celebration of some type. This, might not be a big trip, or, it might be, but it may not be anything that has to do with, monetary expenditure. But you can mark the day with some kind of celebration. Maybe a celebration meal, a last day of school pictures. Even if you've done first day of school pictures, that can be fun to compare. They will never be in the first grade again, or they'll never be in the third grade again, or the fifth grade, or whatever it is. So mark that passage of time, and mark the moment in some way, and that can be a good thing to do. And I'm glad to see you all here. Welcome. I'm covering 10 quick tips about the end of the school year, just between spring and summer, for those who are in that, last 6 weeks or so of school. Just a little bit of encouragement. So I'm on number 3, and that is get your academic work completed first thing in the morning. And that's just a great way, to save hopefully better weather, for whatever might happen that day. It's good to go ahead and knock out your academic subjects, the things that you are, needing to do first thing, and that can be a good way to get some momentum about finishing up those last 6 weeks. Number 4, for littles, maybe you started the year with a napping toddler and the year started off or maybe you had 2 naps to work with and they're down to 1 now. I remember when our boys' nap times dwindled down. So a good thing to do, or maybe you have a talkative preschooler. We had that going on towards the end of the year. There's definitely a way to lovingly work together with your elementary to middle or high schoolers, to give them focus time for any independent work that they have here at the end of the year, and to let them know that you're working on that. You can include the littles in your chores and disappear with them, and give the older siblings time, with my little guys worked with, they helped me with laundry. If I was putting laundry from the washer to the dryer, they loved helping out with that. If I swept a little part of the kitchen and then gave them a broom and let them sweep on that side I'd already swept, they didn't know that, but they were helping me and that kept them occupied. Any of those type of things, putting away laundry. Even if your oldest, the weather's better, if your oldest is old enough for you to do this, to go for a little walk with the youngest, people that might be distractions, when distractions really get us off track at the end of the year, in my house anyway. And so if you can just get out of the house for a little bit, or nearby, if in the spring we had a sliding door in the back of our house with a full screen, and so I would just maybe turn off the air for a little bit, and we would be outside where their voices could carry into the cul-de-sac instead of into the house, and our guys could have time there to work on their work. That might help. In the afternoons, especially with my guys, that was a big way to help. So that, number 5, make a quick graphic or a way to count down the year. I've mentioned that before a number of times, so that's not a new one. Number 6, condense as needed where you can. You could do 2 days of history or science, especially in your subject-based or content or not the skill-based subjects, but the other subjects. For history, science, I would be careful doing this in a skill-based subject like math, but you could double up some days to just get you down the line. So with math, new learning needs to marinate, so I wouldn't choose that. But for some subjects, you could double up and condense. So number 7, I would pick summer readers from your remaining readers and read alouds. There might be some that you want to kick to the summer. We've talked about that before, but using basically the stickies, I use these type of stickies. I only have 2 of these left. I love these and use them all the time. You can mark where you are and keep up. You might be in week 34 in one subject, week 32 in another, and that's perfectly fine. And you can just, use stickies or whatever you have to mark your instructor's guide so that you can flip back and forth quickly. There's no rule that you have to be on the same week in every subject. So that's an idea for you if that helps you get down the road a little bit. And then you can use that time to double down on math or science or writing or whatever needs more time at your house. Number 8, if your history ends with the Cold War or the Civil War, I want to say, just as a student who had this happen in public school, we never heard anything in some classes after World War II or after the Civil War, depending on the timeline for the class. And I think that that's so horrible. I needed to learn all of these new things whenever I became a homeschool mom. Honestly, I learned a lot as a teacher that I didn't get when I was a student. So I would say if your history ends with one of those big time periods, I wouldn't skip it, but you can switch the pace and replace some of the reading in different ways. And a couple of ways you could do that is documentary documentaries. You could use documentaries that you could watch together. You could also, this is something that I have loved doing. I love to read at night when everyone's in bed. And so if I had time to skim or read ahead myself, instead of reading aloud at the end of the year, I love reading aloud all throughout the year. But if we are in a pinch at the end of the year, one idea, you could read ahead. I've definitely done this. And then when we're on the way to a track meet or whatever, we discussed it, and I might show them the pictures when we're at home or take them along and show them. But then instead of reading it word for word, I would tell them kind of not like a lecture, but kind of hit the high points with them. After you've read it and understood the time period, then you can just discuss it. They have often great questions, and you get into a great discussion, and it's just a different way of covering the same material, but I would still cover it. So that's just one idea that might help you get some mileage, especially when the year gets busy and you have, spring events starting, that when you're headed to play practice or you're headed, wherever you're on the way, you can discuss while you're driving. And that was something that I would do just to switch up the pace a little bit and to still get through the material at the end of the year. And teachers in the classroom do this type of thing constantly, so you're in good company with teachers around the world that do this at the end of the year, when you're getting everything in that needs to be covered before you're going to reach your finish line. Number 9, you could stop where you are and just you decide where you're going to call it and say this is where we're going to end this year, and you can pick it up in the late summer or fall after you've had a break. So when, especially if we've had big events during a year, a new baby, a move, a relocation, or something like that, then that was a good time to definitely have a stopping place, and regardless of where we were, we would call it. And then some years we would stop where we were and pick it up, like I've said in number 9 here. Sometimes we would, number 10, final option, stop where you are and start fresh in the next level in the fall. And just know, there was one year we had a new baby. We had a lot going on. It was our first year of Sunlight. And we stopped at week 30, and that was perfectly fine. We had covered so many things. I did look through and tried to go over, just talk about some of the things that we didn't get to. My son ended up reading the books independently later. He was young at the time, and he wasn't ready for those for some of the read alouds that I would be reading to him. So when he was older, he found them on the shelves and he read them on his own. So that was great. So those are 10 tips. I hope that you have a great last 6 weeks. If you have any questions as you're going through the end of the year here, it is so great to hear feedback. I'm enjoying hearing from people about how your year is going. If there's a challenge, something challenging that has cropped up during the year, definitely reach out to your mentor or one of us that you see in one of the videos. We would love to help in any way that we can. That brings us a lot of joy, so we would love to do that. And it's helpful also in guiding us as we decide what to put in these live videos. So thanks for your feedback. It helps, and we appreciate you, and we hope that you're having a good end of your year. Have a great day. Thanks.